positive vibes. Thank you so much for supporting me, subscribing to this channel until we are now at 4,000 subscribers. I don't take that for granted. I thank you so much, because YouTube is not that easy, but you have made it easy for me, and thank you so much. Those that like our videos, comment down below. I don't take it for granted. Thank you once again. And today I want us to look at something that I have observed with the people of Jamaica. They have a unique characteristic, unique traits. You don't find them everywhere in the world. Jamaicans are generally happy people with positivity, positive vibes, very enduring, and very resilient, very hardworking. All those characteristics that we have actually been mentioning in this channel. And I came to wonder, what has made the Jamaican people have such great and unique characteristic that is not found with so many people? And I came to a conclusion that Jamaicans are a cocktail. They are a mixture of so many races that have come together and blended together and produced a people with a very unique character, very strong, very resilient, very hardworking and outgoing people. And I actually came to believe the saying, is it the saying, or it is actually a vision or a mission, or what is it? Out of many, one people. Jamaicans' motto, out of many, one people. And it is true. Jamaicans have come a long way to be who they are today. I came to realize that Jamaicans are a mixture of several people. First of all, let me go straight to the history of the people of Jamaica, where they originated, the indigenous people that first came to Jamaica. The first people to come to Jamaica were the Taino people, who are speaking the Arawak language. The Taino people had actually migrated from South America, and they were Indians. And they came and settled in Jamaica, and there is one of my videos that I have captured the activities that these people used to do. They were very hardworking people, very aggressive people, and they started doing a lot of activities in Jamaica. However, the Arawak people, the Taino people, did not live for long because they were joined by the Spanish people. Now guys, as I mentioned these people, you are getting a clue of some of the indigenous people of Jamaica, and some became the cocktail, some of the cocktail I'm talking about. So we had the Spanish people, and of course the Taino people, it is said, they were wiped away of diseases and mistreatment by the Spanish people. But I want to say, there cannot lack a remnant of the Taino people. And therefore Jamaicans some of them must be having the DNA of the Taino people or the Arawak people who are Indians. After the Taino people, the Spanish people came and started their shenanigans in Jamaica. They started cultivating and they wiped away the Taino people according to the history of Jamaica. And the Spanish people started blending with the people of Jamaica, just like any community will go to a place and actually, but the Spanish people, by the way, they were somehow alone in the island because they wiped away the Taino people. And therefore the Spanish people existed until the British people came and overcame them and threw them away. By this time, there were some people that were actually acting as slaves what? In the plantations that were being cultivated by the Spanish people. And therefore the African people, okay, let me not go so fast, because when the Spanish people were there, I think they had already started getting slaves from Africa, and therefore they were the African people from West Africa, specifically from Ghana, Nigeria, Angola, those countries in West Africa. And therefore the slaves were being transported from West Africa to Jamaica. And therefore these slaves were interacting with the Spanish people and later with the British people, together with the remnant of the Spanish people. I know that you now know that in the DNA of some of the Jamaicans, there must be the Spanish people and there must be the British people, and of course, the largest percentage of the DNA of the Jamaican people are the African people from West Africa. Because we really read history that the people from West Africa were mainly the Akan people and the Yoruba people from Nigeria, and these people came and bred with the Spanish people, the British people, and of course, because these people were interacting, it was bound to have some children of the mixture of all these races. And therefore, in the DNA of the Jamaican people, there are African people, there are Indian people, the Taino people, there are Europeans who are the British mainly. And apart from that, Jamaica also, after the end of slave trade, some of the Chinese people, and specifically from one region, I'm going to highlight that region later, they came to work in the plantations. And therefore, the Jamaica people are actually made up of Africans who are actually holding the largest percentage, the Taino people, the Arawak, speaking the Arawak language, the European, the British mainly, and of course the Spanish people. And we have the Chinese that came in as people that were working in the plantation, and I'm going to highlight other people in that mixture. So Jamaica is actually 80% Africans who had come from West Africa. And remember, these people from West Africa, we looked at them historically, and we found that some of them were Jews from who had actually come to Africa during the rebellions or the fights that were taking place in some of the regions. And therefore, most likely, Jamaicans also have the Jewish blood. The Jews that came from West Africa, some of them, and there are some Jewish that came directly to Jamaica from the Arab. And therefore, there is a blood of the Jewish community in Jamaica. Now, we have said 80% of Jamaicans are actually African, have the DNA of Africans, and there is also a percentage with an Asian DNA, and there is also a percentage, the Asian are mainly the Chinese, and of course the Indians. So we have the Asian who hold a certain percentage of the DNA of Jamaicans, and of course the Europeans, who are mainly the Spanish, the British, and other European people that later came to Jamaica. So you can see the cocktail that makes the Jamaican people. Now it is said Asian DNA from the Chinese who are the workers who moved to Jamaica in the mid-1800 to 1900, they are actually the people that had come to actually cultivate in Jamaica. And therefore they have the blood of these people who came. There is also the blood of the Indians and Middle East people and the Tainos, Irish, and so on. So we will come to the whole lot of the DNA of the Jamaica people very, very well explained later in this video. Actually, let's let me go through it. The vast majority of Jamaicans are of a sub-Saharan African descent. They have come from Africa, specifically from West Africa, and the minorities of the DNA of Jamaica are Europeans, Indians, Chinese, Mid-Eastern, and others of the mixed ancestry. Jamaicans are friendly, actually we know that, and I tend to think, before even I come to the characteristics, because of this cocktail of the Jamaicans, maybe I can go slightly deeper into the history of the people of Jamaica. Then I come to what influence all these people that came to Jamaica had on Jamaica's character, had on Jamaica's behavior, had on Jamaica's culture. And therefore, that is why we find Jamaicans so special, so unique, so, what can I say, so different from other people that we find in the whole world. And that is why maybe some of the characteristics that we see in Jamaica resulted from the cocktail of all these people. Now, let me go straightly to some of the people that are actually in the DNA of the Jamaican people and how they came to Jamaica before I come to the influence these people had on the character of Jamaicans and also on the culture and the lifestyle of the people of Jamaica. So without further ado, let me go to some of the details on some of the people that are actually part of the DNA of the Jamaican people. So we have talked about the DNA of the people of Jamaica is actually mostly Saharan or the Africans that came from West Africa. And then there is part of the European who are actually the British people that had colonized Jamaica and the Spanish people that had colonized Jamaica area. And then we have the DNA also has part of the Asians, and one may wonder, where did the Asian DNA come from? Here is the story. So when the slave trade ended, there are some laborers who came from Asia and who were sent actually to Jamaica and were from Hakka region, which is in South China. The Hakka region is on the southern side of China and India. So there are people specifically that came to work in the plantations who had come from Hakka region in southern China and India. And that is why the DNA of the people of Jamaica has actually some Asian blood. Now, we have talked about the African ancestry of the Jamaican people. So after the abolition of slave trade, the people that came from Asia, like I have said earlier, to Jamaica, they were actually the ones that contributed to the Asian DNA of the Jamaican people. And we have said they had come from Hakka region in southern China and also part of the plains of Jejes in India. So they were actually Indians and Chinese that actually came and integrated themselves with the local people of Jamaica. And of course, they intermarried and they produced children that had the DNA of Asia. They were mostly men, and therefore they were forced to marry the Jamaican women because mostly it is the men that were going to look for green pastures. And therefore these Asians were mostly men and they were forced to marry Jamaican women, and as a result, of course, and even if they didn't marry, of course they'll interact with the Jamaican women and produce children that have Asian DNA. And therefore that is how the Asian DNA has actually been seen in Jamaica. The first Maroon people were actually the Bakongo from Angola, and I have said earlier, this African ancestry of Jamaican people were mainly from Ghana, Nigeria, Angola, and part of the western region of Africa. And that is why we see a lot of sharing of character or culture of the West African people and the Jamaican people. We also see a lot of wordings. The Yoruba language, the Akan language, is actually, the Jamaican patois has borrowed a lot from West African language. And this is an indicator that some of the people that actually came to settle in Jamaica were from West Africa. There is a lot of borrowing in terms of words, in terms of culture, in terms of behavior, in terms of religion, in terms of everything that Jamaicans do that is similar to the West Africans' practices. And even food, by the way, part of their food. And therefore, let us look at what have these people brought to Jamaica. What is so common between West African people and the Jamaican people that indicates Jamaica actually originated part of them from West Africa? One, I have talked about the language. The patois language has borrowed a lot from the Akan tribe and Yoruba tribe in West Africa, and therefore there are so many words that are shared by West African people and the Jamaican people. There is a video I featured on some of the words the Jamaican people share with West Africa, and therefore one of the things that Jamaicans actually got from West Africa a lot. Of course, Jamaicans are part of West Africa, and West Africa are part of Jamaica. They have a lot in common. So we have language, we have food, we have religion, and there is some of the culture that we actually see in Jamaicans that is very, very similar to West Africa. When Oldmire visited Jamaica, there was a lot of things that he was talking about that are similar in Ghana, and they are found also in Jamaica. Like the way the market is, like the way the public transport is, and the way people call the passengers to enter the public transport vehicles, they are so similar from West Africa to Jamaica. And therefore there is a lot of borrowing of the character, of the religion, of the food, of the way of life in general from West Africa and Jamaica. The other thing that I have seen might have been influenced by the cocktail of all these people coming together is the good nature of Jamaican people, the loving character of the Jamaican people. This cocktail has actually made Jamaica to produce a people that are so loving, that are so accommodative. And I tend to think because from long time ago, Jamaicans were already used to staying with people from different regions. We have seen that there were the Taino people speaking Arawak, there were the Spanish people, there were the British people, and of course, other people from different regions were coming to Jamaica. I remember the pirate trade. We have the Portuguese, actually Jamaican DNA should also have part of the Portuguese. And therefore, all these people, they had to coexist together. And that is why Jamaicans came up with the motto, out of many one people. They have to learn to love one another. They have to learn to embrace one another. They have to learn to live with one another. They have to learn to communicate with one another. And I think this is where the character of Jamaicans being loving came from. Because you cannot coexist as many tribes and races the way Jamaica is without embracing each other, without loving each other, without accommodating each other, without embracing each other. And that is why Jamaicans are very, very loving. They embrace people from all corners of the world, and we have seen it. We have seen Africans going to Jamaica, and they are actually treated well, they are hosted, they are loved, and they are shown around. because Jamaicans are used to people coming to their region way back from the time Jamaican island started with the Taino people. The other characteristic that I have seen with Jamaicans that I relate to their DNA is the strength of character, very strong people. Jamaicans have actually gone through a lot in their coming up to be where they are. Remember, they started as people that were captured as slaves in West Africa. They had to endure a lot of pain. They had to endure a lot of suffering. Coming from West Africa to Jamaica, they had to endure a lot. And we see the endurance in Jamaicans' blood. We see the strength of character in Jamaicans' blood. Because for you to come from West Africa and arrive to Jamaica, arrive and strong, you must be a very strong person. You must be a person that is so good in endurance. And that is what we see with Jamaican people in their character. Also remember that the people that came from Europe, the British people, the Spanish people, the remnant of the Spanish people had it rough with the British people. They were being beaten, they were being chased away. And therefore these people had to learn to survive. They had to learn the techniques of surviving in the midst of very harsh conditions. When the British came, they also started fighting the people of Africa that were in Jamaica. And the Spanish people were also mistreating them. And therefore these people, even the ones that were born out of the mingling of all these communities, had to have the character of endurance, a strong character because of the sufferings they were going through. The British people also had it rough from the Maroon people. Remember that the Maroon people were actually killing a lot of British people. And therefore the British people that existed in Jamaica and that came in the DNA of the people of Jamaica had to learn to survive, had to learn to coexist with the people of Jamaica and sign a treaty. And we actually see this in the way the Jamaicans relate, whether they are white Jamaicans or black Jamaicans. They had to learn to coexist with each other. And that is why, irrespective of which DNA Jamaicans have come from, they have to be endurance, they have to have a strong character, they have to be resilient, they have to be hardworking. Remember, these are people that were working in coffee plantations, sugar plantations, working under very harsh conditions, and they had to work. So the minute the Jamaicans started working for their own, they had to give it all, just like they were giving it all in the times of slavery. That is why we find Jamaicans very, very hardworking and very, very aggressive people. Remember, the Maroon people were aggressive. They had to fight people that had confiscated weapons and very strong people than them. For people to do this, they have a strong will, a strong determination, a strong power in their hearts. And that is what we see with the Jamaican people. So the character we see with the Jamaican people is a cocktail of the British people, Spanish people, African people, Arawak people, and any other person that came to Jamaica. Remember also, the Jamaicans had to face what are they called? Catastrophes of life. The hurricanes, the storms. And therefore, these people have to have the will and they have to seek God. We see Jamaicans are very, very God-loving. Because in times of such adversities, you have to seek a superpower power. And Jamaicans, that is why we have so many religions in Jamaica, so many churches in Jamaica, because you have to seek the Almighty. The problems Jamaicans have gone through have made them so keen in their maker. That is a character we also find with the people of Jamaica. Because of the cocktail of the people, remember that even some of the people that came from West Africa were religious people. And therefore they continued with their religion, and they actually intermingled with other people, and they actually preached to them and continued with their religion. So guys, can you see where the resilient power of Jamaicans, the strong will of the people of Jamaica, the happy nature and the positivity of the people of Jamaica thrive. They are very positive to life. They are very optimistic when it comes to life because of the hardships that they have gone through. They had to be optimistic that all will be well irrespective of what they are going through. And for sure, Jamaicans are very, very, very hopeful of tomorrow. They have faith that tomorrow will be better than today. And I really, really love their character. This character is as a result of the cocktail Jamaicans. Guys, do embrace the fact that this cocktail has produced a great people, a wonderful people, a resilient people, a hardworking people, a go-getters who are Jamaicans. Today, I celebrate you and your ancestry because they gave you wonderful DNA, great DNA that we celebrate all of us all over the world. How many people shoot Jamaican videos? We are many because you have made us to love you. You have made us to embrace you. You have made us to look at you in a very special way. And may the Lord always bless you, enlarge you, because you have become a blessing to so many of us. Thank you so much once again, guys, for watching us. See you during the next video. Bye-bye, and God bless.